So for tonight's dinner, I'm taking a recipe that was scratched onto a card, which didn't have instructions, that I then got in like broken text messages from my mother-in-law. Have you gone plant-based, but you want to revisit some of those childhood favorite foods? Well, stick around because today, that's exactly what we're doing. What's your method?
No method, it's madness.
It's kind of weird. I like it though.
Oh.
I'm surprised how much I like this. Ew! Don't you dare yuck my yum.
This does not taste like Hamburger Stew, but it's
Yikes.
good.
This is like an amped up tomato soup.
Oh, really good.
Could you take a smaller bite?
Yeah, I could. And I'm not eating that.
But
Does it remind you of childhood?
I guess. But maybe it reminds me that I didn't really like this dinner.
Greetings and welcome to or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we focus on all things plant-based goodness. And whether you are new to plant-based cooking or you're considering giving it a spin, you probably have a bunch of recipes from childhood or even your adult life that you love and you are worried you're not going to be able to make. So what we are doing today is we're taking 4 of my wife's childhood favorite meals, and we are going to give them the whole food plant-based treatment. We got a pepper steak. We're doing Hamburger Stew, which is something I had never heard of, as well as stuffed pasta shells, and even a dessert. For those of you that have picked up our cookbook, we've got an entire section in this book that is designed to help you convert your own recipes using swaps for every single animal product you can think of, as well as oils and whatnot. That is obviously in the ebook version that you can get by using the QR code on the screen right now. But if you want to get a print copy that also comes autographed, we just got a new shipment in, but we are not likely to do another printing after this one for a long time. So get these while they last because there's only a limited amount. And you can get one of the hard copies by emailing me right here and I'll send you all of that information. When you do email me though, please send your full mailing address. It just saves us a couple back and forths. Before we jump into the recipes, I'd like to give a quick hello to some of the people who said hello to us in the comments down below. Kathy from Clarkston, Michigan. Jennifer from Des Plaines, Illinois. Janine from Twisp, Washington. The Vegan Lovebirds from Cincinnati. Melly Blush from Niagara. Bonnie from Algarve, Portugal, where carob grows everywhere and carob breads and cookies are common in supermarkets. That's really cool. Sharon from Port Colborne, Ontario. Sarah from Clarington. Holly from Michigan. Debbie from Barrie, Ontario. Larry from New Mexico. Joyce from the Netherlands. And Brenda from Perth in Scotland. If you'd like to shout out here on the channel, all you have to do is say hi to us in the comments down below. Let us know who you are, where you're watching from, and what is the childhood meal that you would love to convert to whole food plant-based. Because maybe we'll take some of your suggestions and incorporate it into a future video where we do something like this as well. And if you want to get a bump up on that shout out list, consider joining us over in our membership. It's like a PB with J 2.0 experience where you get a bump up on that shout out list, you get early access to these videos, and a lot of other awesome perks, all for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. And now to the recipes. So for tonight's dinner, I'm taking a recipe that was scratched onto a card, which didn't have instructions, that I then got in like broken text messages from my mother-in-law. This is a pepper steak recipe. So what I did was I pressed some tofu and then I marinated it just in some vegetable broth, and I sprinkled some pepper on the tofu before, cut it into slices. So I let that marinate for just like an hour or two in the fridge. And then I put it onto our air fryer. We have this nice wide Typher dome air fryer, so it has a lot of basket space. You could always put this in the oven if you don't have something like this. And I just put some fresh cracked pepper on top, and then I air fried it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for like 14 minutes. And then I dry sauteed some onion, peppers, and then I added in some mushroom and garlic and just cooked them down until they started to brown a little bit, got some color on them. Took those off, and then I took the same broth that I was soaking the tofu in, put that into the pan with like a tablespoon of Bragg's liquid aminos, put put a little bit more cracked pepper inside. And then I just started heating up that broth. And then I whisked in a 1/4 cup of oat flour. Use whatever flour you want. If you aren't gluten-free, use whole wheat flour. Put it in a little bit at a time so it doesn't get too clumpy. And then once it starts to thicken, I added in about 20 ounces worth of crushed tomatoes, so a little less than a whole can for those of you that are in Canada. And for those of you that are in the States and have 14-ounce cans, it's like 1.5 cans, I guess. And then I added in the tofu and the peppers, and I mixed it all up. And I don't know what this is supposed to look like or taste like, because I've never had this before. Wooly will let us know, won't you, Wooly?
I'll try. It's been like 30 years since I had it.
Okay. And I made some rice to serve it with. And Annie's not here, so it's just the 3 of us testing this out.
Yeah, it's okay. It's too tomatoey for me.
I was surprised there was the tomatoes in it.
I know. I don't remember it being tomatoey, but I guess it was.
But we could leave the tomatoes out and make it different, like more like a gravy.
Yeah.
Does it remind you of childhood?
I guess. But maybe it reminds me that I didn't really like this dinner.
So glad we made it. It's funny, like as I was cooking it up and I said like the mushrooms and the peppers, like, oh, this reminds me of like a steak kind of thing. But adding the tomato sauce seemed weird to me. It seemed like a weird thing. It felt like a very 1950s thing. Which made sense why it was one of your mom's recipes. No offense to Dale, love you Dale, but you were raised in the 50s and your meals kind of reflect that. I mean, Annie might like those. I don't get the pepper vibe. It's not peppery enough. We made a recipe a while back. Remember there was like a pepper sauce? I want to take another stab at pepper steak with tofu. I mean, I think also this might be a good candidate for doing something with lion's mane mushrooms. If you're going for a steak, right? There's something in here I want to play with, but not this. See what everyone thinks.
Tastes like the 80s. Okay.
I think it's from the 50s. No,
Tastes like the 40s. It's kind of weird.
What does that mean?
Like, tomato of this is kind of weird.
Why?
Because it's like a tomato gravy.
Yeah.
Huh.
Tomato sauce. You could put it on pasta.
I like it though.
Yeah? Would you put it on pasta?
Yeah.
And make the tofu smaller? And it could just be pasta sauce. Cool.
I give it like an A.
Wow. They'll let Grandma know. Okay. Bye.
Hot.
So for our next meal in this childhood recreation series, we are doing Wooly's Hamburger Stew.
Hamburger stew.
I never had hamburger stew growing up.
I had it when I was like 3, 4, 5 years old, maybe.
And you remember it fondly?
Yeah.
Okay.
Not weird. But I don't really remember what it tastes like. So that will be interesting.
I don't think you're going to like it. Okay.
I don't even know if this is the recipe that my mom used. It's the only one she could find that said hamburger stew on it. But it didn't look dirty or anything. She made it a lot.
It didn't look dirty?
Well, you know, like recipes get splatters on them and stuff.
Right.
And the recipe didn't look like it had been used. And she made this recipe often enough that I remember it from that young age, you know.
Well, this is the recipe we're going with. So I'm modifying it, obviously. The only thing I'm really doing is I'm adding more vegetables. I'm adding some celery to this. I might add some vegetable broth to amp it up a little bit. I'm doubling up the potatoes upon Annie's request. And so for the burger part, we're obviously not using ground beef. What we're doing instead is I'm using tofu, and I'm making ground beef. It's similar to the recipe from the Burger Dude, if anyone watching is familiar with that guy. One of his tofu ground round recipes is pretty close with ingredients that you've got just on hand. I've modified his and swatched out some of the ingredients. Like,
whatever's happening, it smells really good.
Thanks.
It definitely does not smell like ground beef. Thank goodness.
Yeah, so instead of oil, there's aquafaba. I don't have beef beyond beef bouillon, so I use some brag. Anyway, it's all on the screen. You'll be able to see it. All this is mixed up together, and crumble in the tofu. And then we're gonna bake it at 350. It says for 20 to 40 minutes, depending on your tofu and your oven. It says to basically check it every 15 minutes and just stir it around a little bit. We want it to get a little dehydrated because when we put it in the soup, that's gonna rehydrate it a little bit. So I'm going to chop up all my vegetables. I'm gonna add in the onion first to the pot, and I'm gonna add in the celery and the potatoes and the carrots. And then I'm just gonna start adding in all the rest of the stuff you see here, except for the ingredient that is called for the white sauce, which is I'm gonna use 2 cups of plant-based milk, 2 cups of flour, and 2 cups of aquafaba. And I'm gonna mix that all together. And then once this has all come up to a boil, I'm gonna bring it down to a simmer and let it go until the potatoes are cooked, which I'm gonna assume is gonna be like 15 to 20 minutes or so. And then I'm gonna add in that tofu mixture, which should be cooked by then. And then just let that rehydrate for a few minutes. And then right before we serve, I'm going to add in the white sauce. And then we'll see how this is. This is a mystery. So because of the extra vegetables, I added another cup and a half, maybe 2 cups of vegetable stock. I would say just make sure your vegetables are covered, otherwise they won't cook properly, especially the potatoes. All right, Annie?
Not Annie.
What? Oh, Eefy.
What? This does not taste like a hamburger stew.
No.
But it's good.
Mom, why didn't you make it better?
I don't think this is the right recipe. I don't think it had tomato in it.
Let me try it. Let me try it. I need a little potato in there too. A little bit of everything.
It's hot.
Yeah, it's
Be
hot.
careful. I really like it, but this is not what the hamburger stew tastes like. I think that was minus the tomato. I think it had the milkiness, but not the tomato.
This is like an amped up tomato soup. I'm surprised how much I like this. I would make this again.
Yeah, it's really good.
I would maybe add some fresh, like basil or something to it. Basil would be really nice.
Oh, it smells like baked beans. Because I know there's something in it that you guys aren't telling me about.
What? There's just sauces. It's like
Yeah,
steak sauce.
Bad sauces.
No. What do you think is in there that I'm not telling you about?
Whatever it smells like.
Could you take a smaller bite?
Yeah, I could. And I'm not eating that. But
I'll work on a version that's more like the original.
It's alright. It just tastes like a barbecue sauce soup. It's like a B+.
Yeah.
It's okay.
I think with that in mind, we could take like the idea of this hamburger stuff, which I think works, and use a broth that's closer to the broth we use for the clam chowder.
yeah, and I will definitely not be eating that.
Great. I like this a lot. This is like an A+ for me. I would have this again.
Yeah.
I would add more flavor. I would want to put some basil in it and some other seasonings. But there's good stuff going on here that I think people would like. Before we get to the next recipe, I just want to give a quick moment to send some love to the sponsor of this video, Fitville. Besides comfort food, the thing that reminds me most of childhood is just running around freely, feeling good and comfortable. And that's why we love our partnership with Fitville, because they create shoes with you in mind. Not only do they have shoes for every different type and situation and style, but they're also designed for everyone like my kids who use their shoes.
Hey, these shoes are so awesome. There's like no foot fatigue, and we've been walking for like 12 hours a day for 4 days.
There's our Fitville shoes.
To my dad, who we got a pair of shoes for.
Boy, they're nice and light. Oh, boy, you can even feel the warmth already. I'll bet you these are one of the most comfortable winter boots I've had.
Because their shoes are not only really affordable, but they're super practical. They have options for wide varieties, and also they specialize in shoes for people that have different foot challenges. I don't know the right word. I don't want to shame anyone. If you need a wider foot, you got some foot challenges, Fitville's the people for you. But even if you don't have a wider foot, They've got everything that you would need in a shoe. And what's even better is if you use our discount down below, you can get 30% off if you are a new purchaser on Fitville. But if you are a returning customer, you get 25% off. So thank you to Fitville for not only sponsoring this video, but keeping our feet super comfortable and warm and cozy in every environment we have used your shoes. Can I
What
help
are we
you?
making?
Oh,
It was upside down. Stuffed pasta shell.
that's right. This is one of, where's Willie? Hi, Willie.
Beaten egg.
We're not gonna beat the egg. We're gonna gently love it. No, we're not gonna do anything with the egg.
Mozzarella. Parmesan.
Yep, we're gonna replace all those things.
Where's the Parmesan?
Nooch.
Ew!
Don't you dare yuck my yum. All right, so this is the original recipe. I'll hold it there. So basically what we're gonna be doing is making a tofu ricotta that uses tofu, tahini, nutritional yeast, onion powder, garlic powder, nutmeg, lemon zest, lemon juice, a little bit of sea salt, and some freshly ground pepper. You're gonna mix all those together in a food processor, and then you're gonna mix like 3 cups or so of fresh or steamed spinach. I just bought the frozen stuff from the grocery store. And just make sure if you do that and you thaw it in the microwave or defrost it, that you also squeeze it out and get the excess liquid out. As you can imagine, it's hard to find gluten-free pasta shells, so we'd especially order them from this company, not a sponsor. They did not send us these. But by the looks of it, this is enough for, I'd say, at least 4 servings. So get these going, because the amount of time it takes to make the ricotta, these will still be cooking. So these ones, the pasta shells, seems to cook for 14 minutes before you bake them. So it's a real 14. Preheat your oven for 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And then you're going to put a little bit of, you're gonna put a little tomato sauce on the bottom of a large baking dish. You're gonna stuff those shells with like, I'd say a tablespoon and a bit of filling. And then just keep on doing that until they're full. And then just drizzle some more tomato sauce on top. Cover it with tinfoil and bake it for 30 minutes. And then what I'm gonna do on top is I've got some of our cheese sauce that I froze. So I'm gonna grate that on top, and then we're going to broil it for, I don't know, just 5 minutes. And then we're gonna smash it into our faces.
Oh, really good.
Yeah?
It's like, what are those rolls we used to make?
Manicotti? Yeah, same idea.
When did we make that?
What would you give this, Annie?
An A.
Why an A?
Not an S because it's a bit lemony.
Okay. Too lemony. But if it's less lemony, maybe? Okay.
Hello. Yeah, I agree. I think that we can work on the ricotta
Also,
a bit.
these
It's a bit
are-
lemony.
Need to be a bit more cooked.
I mean, I like lemon and all. But yeah, overall, I like it. But I think we can improve it.
I want that ricotta to be a little richer.
Mm-hmm.
Like some cashew cream. Maybe.
Maybe, but it's nice to have it nut free.
Right.
But yeah, I really like it. But I think we can do even better.
Yeah, it's like a B plus or an A. It's like an A.
Yeah.
And because we bought 50 million packages of pasta shells,
Now we can practice.
we'll practice.
5 more times.
This might be a fun recipe for us to do on a live stream, actually, once we tweak the recipe. So let me know if that's something you'd like to do for one of our cook-alongs that we do on Mondays.
Honestly, for the shells being gluten free, they're pretty good.
Yeah,
They're gluten free.
yeah, we
Oh
thought
yeah,
that
that's why mom's eating them.
they're really good. The gluten-free pasta is
mail
solid.
order them. It's the only one. There's only one
Yeah.
company that makes them.
The ricotta's pretty good in it. I would
Yeah.
like it to be a bit more salty and sour.
Yeah.
Yeah, we think we can work on the ricotta flavor a bit.
But I'll give it a solid A.
Thanks.
More salt, and then it does more salt. I feel like the The sour can stay the same.
Maybe, yeah.
What are you looking at?
You got a kettle in the background, kids playing video games. The audio of this is gonna be amazing.
Great. So I'm gonna try to recreate my grandmother's Butterscotch Square. And I put chocolate chips in it because everything's better with chocolate. And then, yeah, I'm trying to make it more whole food, plant-based. So this could be a complete disaster.
What's your method?
What do you mean?
What are you using?
What method? No method. It's madness. Ah! Okay, I'm gonna put in 1/3 cup of aqua fava. It's supposed to be a cup of sugar. Let's turn her on. And see what happens. Okay, will it taste like butterscotch? One never knows. But I think what I would add also is like a pinch of salt. Just a pinch. Won't be using an egg, so we can double it. There we go. Stir this bad boy up. I should use a whisk, people. Somebody's shouting that at me. Use a whisk. I get it. I'll say this, it doesn't taste bad. It tastes kind of like dates. I mean, it looks like baby food. Right? Okay. Let's see what the next step is. So far, so good. I used double, so it called for, in the original recipe, it called for 1/3 cup of butter melted with a cup of sugar. So I've used aquafaba instead, and I used 2/3 cup of aquafaba and only 1/2 cup of date sugar or date powder. So it's different. So we'll see what happens. Next, you're meant to add an egg and the flour and baking powder, salt if you want. Actually, I already put a pinch of salt in. I didn't tell you that. Sorry. But because I used more aquafaba, I'm gonna maybe not use an egg. You could also use a flax egg. We'll see. I'm gonna use oat flour. So I'm gonna use 1/3 cup of oat flour and a teaspoon of baking powder, and it calls for a cup of coconut and some vanilla, a teaspoon or 2 of vanilla to your taste. And then I'm gonna stir in some chocolate chips at the end, so it'll be like kind of chocolate chippy. Oh, I forgot the chocolate chips. Put chocolate chips on top. Okay, so you're gonna need to preheat your oven to 350 degrees and line an 8x8 baking dish with parchment. So it's in the oven. I'm gonna bake it for about 20 minutes and then check on it and see. It didn't really feel like it even fit the 8x8 pan, so I kind of cheated the edges a little. And now we're just gonna wait and see what happens. I think next time maybe I would make more batter because it wasn't quite enough. But we'll see how it turns out.
It's really vanilla-y.
I love vanilla.
I don't know. It's weird.
It looks like something else. It looks like a not all the way baked macaroon.
What?
Well, just like the texture of it.
Can you make those macaroons again?
All right, I'm gonna try.
No, it's
Is coconut part of like the original recipe?
I need it to be more butterscotchy. I feel like it's missing that.
I've never had the original.
It tastes more like a coconut. It tastes like a
It tastes like a
Mino square. Mino. Papino.
Nanaimo.
Nanaimo bar.
It tastes like somewhere between like a macaroon
And a Nanaimo.
and like a
Nanaimo.
brown. I don't
Nanaimo.
know.
Nanaimo.
I wouldn't think butterscotch if I was to eat this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, but it's not bad. I like
It's
it.
not bad. It's like a beet, but like.
Well, guys, it's a dessert. This is a good dessert.
Thank you.
I think especially for people that want like a really healthy, low-calorie dessert that's mostly whole food, and you can leave out the chocolate chips.
You could put nuts instead.
Like I'm having another chocolate chip, and it's still good. Like you should call it something else. That's a good new recipe, though, Willie.
Thanks.
It's just not a butterscotch square.
Okay.
I'd call it a soft macaroon. Thanks again for joining us as we try to transform some of Willie's childhood favorite meals. Let us know in the comments down below what meals you'd like to transform for your childhood, and maybe we'll consider doing in a future version of this kind of video here on the channel. Also, don't forget to use that discount code for Fitville down below, 30% off for new users and 25% off for returning users. If you enjoyed this video, hit that like button to let YouTube know to share it with other people. Subscribe for more videos like this. And obviously stick around because YouTube has this video all queued up for you. You can stay a little bit longer and watch that video. And then I want you to strap on your Fitville shoes and take yourself for a little walk. Touch some grass or snow, depending where you are in the world right now.